Transition.
Yep. At least I didn't eat shit. Welcome back to Christina's Garage Gearhead in Training. Today I'm here at Granatelli Motorsports in Southern California. Joey and Big Joe, I met them at SEMA, and if you want to see the interview that I did of them and their really cool truck, check out those previous videos from last month. While we were talking, I thought it would be pretty cool. Hey, if I'm in Southern California, would I be able to come by your facility and see what you guys got going on? And they gave me the thumbs up. Now I am here, we're gonna learn a little bit more about their business and get a behind the scenes look. I'm here with JoJo. He was just telling me that, okay, so I was calling you Joey, but can you go over again, like how many?
Okay, so my grandfather's Joey, my father's Joey, I'm Joey, and my son is Joey. So if you go to a family reunion, you're like, Joey, you're going to get all three of us turning around. Hey, what do you want?
So this is Mojo JoJo.
Exactly.
Here at Granatelli Motorsports, he's going to give me a tour, and it was really cool when I walked into the waiting area, the entry.
The lobby.
The lobby. He was telling me about all the history, and I think that would be a really cool place to start. Could you tell us, there's so much history on the walls here.
Yeah. So this is my grandfather's plaque. As you can see, he was driving a Studebaker at the time, which was, fun fact, my grandmother's vehicle that she would take my aunt and my dad to school in every day. They would just take off the side panels, drive it to school, full roll cage. At the time, the vehicle made 400 horsepower, and that was absolutely insane. Now we're talking about 2,000 horsepower vehicles that you can daily drive. So as you can see in the photo, this is my grandfather, Joe. Then you have Andy and Vince. Andy was the talker, Vince was the mechanic, and my grandfather was the mastermind behind everything. So he was the one who put the turbine engine in the Indy car that was 2 laps away from winning the Indy 500. They didn't know back in the day the technology behind gas. So they're like, oh, let's just put regular gas in it, not knowing that there's microscopic oil in the gas that would lubricate the motor, and they broke a 5-cent bearing in the motor that just stopped pretty much right before the start-finish line.
Wow.
So this is pretty huge. My grandfather was also had a huge part in STP and transforming it to the future.
What is STP?
Scientific. So STP is scientifically treated petroleum.
Oh, okay.
So it was a car additive that you put in your gas tank, and it would lube the motor, it lubed the pistons, the rods, pretty much everything. My grandfather came from Detroit, ice cold. They pretty much grew up. They would get nickels for starting people's vehicles. So they would climb underneath the car. They would hit the starter 3 times. They would put the battery charger on it, and they would start people's cars. So that got them into automotive. And then they started a speed shop, and then from the speed shop they started Tune-Up Masters, which everybody knows what Tune-Up Masters is.
I don't.
Okay. Well, so Tune-Up Masters is now it's called Jiffy Lube. So Tune-Up Masters is you drive your car in, they rotate your tires, they change your oil, they change the air intake if it needed, and they'd send you on your way. You'd come in, 30 minutes later, your car is fully tuned up, kind of like being in an Indy car. When the car comes in, they change the tires, they clean your windshield or your visor back in the day because they didn't have windshields, and they'd send you on your way.
I didn't know. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then you mentioned these are your grandfather's brothers?
Yes.
Okay. So Granatelli Motorsports, because the whole fam
Yes. So we're very family oriented here. So let's take a look over at my dad's, because he had a huge part in the Mustang world. So this is my dad's plaque. My dad had a huge part in revolutionizing mod motor racing. So the mod motor came out in the early 2000s. It was a 4-cam motor. And everybody's like, you're never going to make horsepower with that motor. You're never going to make it. You can't do it. You can't do it. Well, when you tell my dad you can't do something, then he's like, well, I have to do it. I'm going to make it work. So back in 2001, my dad took his Cobra and went 7 seconds in the quarter mile, which was extremely fast. He held the record for 20 years until they changed the rules saying, hey, well, you can run twin turbos now. And instead of weighing, let's just say 2,500 pounds, now your vehicle can be 2,000. So now the record's somewhere in the 5 seconds, but it's still, to today, people still try breaking this record at the same parameters, and they still can't do it. It's just, it's crazy.
It's history.
It's
That
history.
is so cool.
So other than my grandfather doing land speed record racing and the Studebaker, the Granatelli name is infamous with the Indy 500. So this is our 1968 turbine all-wheel drive Indy car. They went half speed during qualifying, qualified 6th. Right when they dropped the green flag during the race, he went straight to first. He led the whole race except for the last 2 laps because of, like I said, a $5 little ball bearing that broke. But if this car would have won, I can tell you today we would not have gas-powered cars. Everything would be turbine because this was the future in the early 60s, early 70s.
And you were mentioning that all they had was for a roller cage was the little thing behind.
So all they had was a roll cage, like we would see on like a Shelby Cobra, is just a little 2-inch tube, rolled tube. Just if you roll over, you're pretty much dead. Everybody knew that. If you crashed one of these cars back in the day, there was a very low chance of walking away. So.
And the windshield is like this.
Yeah,
big.
the windscreen. It wasn't even a windscreen. It just screened it.
Well, this is yours?
So this is my plaque. So I know a lot more about me than my father and my grandfather. So I started racing when I was 10 years old in trophy carts. So that's, I would say, the off-road version of go-karting. So instead of just turning left and right, I had dirt flying at me. I had to take a vehicle over jumps. So it's very, very shaking on the body for a 10-year-old who's never really driven a car. Right? Legally, come on. But so after winning the championship 3 years in a row, I moved up to what was Superlight. So Superlight, best way to describe it, is like a Ford Ranger souped up. So it had 12 inches of travel in the front, 14 inches of travel in the rear, which is, if you think about it,
travel is
how far the wheel. If you think about it, our trophy truck, which is in your previous video, has triple the travel of what I was racing in. So equally as violent shaking, but I won the championship in that, and then after that, we went in a different direction, and now we're building a land speed record car.
That's crazy. And how old were you when you did that?
So I did it from 10 years old to 18.
Wow. Well,
I did it for 8 years, 4-time champion.
Do you race anymore?
No, so right now I went in a different direction, and we've been building this land speed record car since 2014.
Is that the one?
That's the one we're gonna look at outside.
Ooh.
Oh, sounds like, it doesn't look like it would be that loud. Is there something down there too and not just, wait.
Has an exhaust cutout switch, so when you're driving it around,
You know.
and then you hit the switch, right? So like, if you look at my displays, which we'll take a look at an exhaust cutout switch. So right now the plate is closed.
Okay.
So it has to run through the factory exhaust.
Okay.
With one touch. So this is our exhaust cutout. So this is the one, I have actually 2 of these on my vehicle outside. So it's oval shaped, so you can shove it in a smaller area. With this, you can cut it at a 45. You can point it in any direction you really want with the ovals. What's great about our system is one touch fully open, one touch fully closed. So there's no more taxing gears, binding the gears, having to replace your motor every 3 to 6 months.
And this is what you were using when the sound was changing.
Yes. Yeah, so if we take a look closer over here, so this would now run through your normal exhaust. Then with one flip of the switch, the cutout opens, and now the exhaust will go where the path of least resistance. Now will flow anywhere you want it to flow.
Got it. So that's how you were able to get.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can see him. You wouldn't expect it to sound
No.
like that and that's what you're saying, right?
Like,
you
yeah,
didn't want it to look.
In my ideology is everybody wants a fast looking car. I just want a fast car.
Yeah.
I don't care the way it looks. When I first bought this car, my grandma is like, why would you buy an old taxi cab?
Is this roll cage?
Yeah, so it's my roll cage.
So did you attach it to the
So
frame?
it's welded to the frame.
Oh, I see it now.
So yeah, the way we built it, or the way I wanted them to build it, is that I wanted to be able to still fit 4 or 5 people in here.
Because you got kids. You got
Yeah, I have kids, and everybody likes going fast.
That's cool.
And we could have built this into an extreme race car. Like you've seen other people, their cars go 6 seconds in a quarter mile. I'm like, okay, my car does it in 9 seconds with the AC, heated seats, cooled seats, still navigation, adaptive cruise control.
Tell me.
So this is our land speed record car. We're shooting to do at least 230 in the class that we're in, 230 miles per hour.
Okay.
I don't know what class we're gonna try to shove this into, but I know that after we read the rules and regulations that we're gonna have to do slight modifications. But we're shooting for 230. The motor has 1,200 horsepower, so it has the horsepower to go as fast as you want. You just need the right gearing to do it in the 5 mile radius, in the 5 mile distance.
That's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. So if you take a look at this vehicle in a whole, it looks like a grandma car. That's what I wanted. I didn't want something that looked like a complete race car because I like to drive my cars daily. So when I close the hood, I close my exhaust cutouts, it sounds no louder than any ordinary truck, Camaro, Challenger, Charger. So twin turbo, 68 millimeter turbos, feeding into a water to air intercooler. So I'm cooling it with ice cold water. So when I take it to the drag strip, I shove ice inside the water box and it keeps the intercooler cold, which after the air goes through the exhaust, through the turbos, it feeds into the ice box of an intercooler and it feeds right into the intake of the motor.
Where do you keep the ice box?
So the ice box is in the trunk.
Oh, okay. You guys make a lot of different things as a business. So what, like obviously I
So
see
like
your
on this
mom-
vehicle, we made, of course, the twin turbo kit, the throttle body, we make our Granatelli billet hose clamps, ignition coils, ignition wires, intake manifold, and valve covers.
everything that kind of helps go with
Yeah,
the engine.
I would say it's more like complementary pieces. Like we built this motor, but we're not using the Granatelli block or a Granatelli head, crank, rod, piston, ring.
Yet.
That's something we're working on right now, but not at this time. But this is our build.
So your bread and butter is all of the complementary parts to an engine.
Yes.
Cool.
Anything that makes it breathe better, spark better, run more efficient.
This is your next project for SEMA.
Yes, so this will be in SEMA Battle of the Builders in 2024. It started off its life as a 91 Fox Body Mustang, which we were told had a clean title. So we bought it for, at the time, was a reasonably priced car. And then we start taking it apart and we're like, oh, the front end has been crashed. Oh, the rear end has some aftermarket welding on it. Oh, this is trashed. This is trashed. And then when we took it to our local body shop in Woodland Hills, they're straightening the body out. And one of the employees there is like, hey, was this blah, blah, blah's car? And we're like, yeah. He goes, oh, dude, we used to crash everything into that thing. That thing used to be the demolition derby. And we're like, okay, well, now everything's starting to make sense. So it was actually good for us because we completely chopped off the front end. We're completely ripping everything out. We're starting brand new. The only thing that will be factory on this build is the shell of the vehicle and the doors. Everything on the inside will be completely modified, as you can see already. And if you follow us on Project S Fox's Instagram page, we've cut the front end off 3 times. The rear end has been out of it at least 6 times. We're making different adjustments every single day. This is going to be definitely a very unique build. As you can see, you probably don't see it, but everybody who's ever owned a Fox Body Mustang, ever seen a Fox Body Mustang, the shock towers used to stand pretty much right here. We've completely cut everything out. We went to an upper and lower control arm, so this is going to be the most extreme street car, but it's going to have every capability of taking it to the track and winning championships.
Are you going to, or are you gonna?
No, we're probably just going to keep it on the streets, just like our trophy truck. That will probably never see the dirt.
Sure, pretty though.
It's very pretty.
Show me what you got.
Okay, so what we're building here, this is an LT1 motor that's going in a lowrider pickup truck. The customer came in and he goes, hey, I really don't have much room underneath my vehicle. Can you build me an exhaust? And we're like, hey, perfect. We just came out the full oval exhaust line, and that was on his previous truck, and absolutely everybody loved it. Every show he went to, he's like, the reason why I won is because your exhaust is so extreme. So he brought us what was supposed to be his wife's car, which is now his car. So we're going to do the full oval exhaust on the vehicle. We're switching them over to the Granatelli ignition coils and wires, which we'll have videos of that being installed on our Instagram, which I'll make sure to tag you guys and make sure you guys put that up on your story. But switching over to the Granatelli oval exhaust, going from a 3-inch round to a 3-inch oval, saves you 3/4 of an inch on ground clearance. So I actually have a piece right here, which is kind of ironic. So if you were to take a 3-inch round, it actually would stick out, if you had it like this, would stick out 3/4 of an inch. So it'd be this much lower than having it oval. You're giving up real estate left to right, but a lot of people have the real estate going this way. They don't have the real estate going up and down, especially on a lowered vehicle like this, which this guy's gonna have his truck on the ground. He's probably gonna have little skid pads, so when he's driving it, it shoots sparks out of the sides. So this is a pretty unique, we'll be working on it for at least the next 2 weeks in between Project S Fox, but when this thing's done, it's definitely gonna be a showstopper.
Well, that was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what's happening with Project S Fox. And I'm going to put all the information in the description so people can follow that project. And stay tuned for SEMA. I'm hoping I'll be able to go next year and then film your next part. That'd be kind of cool to like do that year round.
It'll definitely be there. We're pushing every day, like, hey, you have 3 months to finish this, then paint's going to take 2 months, and then wiring, which is always fun. That you can't really put a time on that because you'll always find a problem in wiring.
I haven't even opened that can of worms yet.
Don't.
I need to. I'm going to.
It's something that's not fun. Our bread and butter here is ignition coils, ignition wires. We make ignition wires for over 7,000 different applications. So if you have ignition wires on your car, we 99.9% of the time can make them. If they make the boot, we can make the wire. So ignition coils, ignition wires, exhaust cutouts.
If someone's looking to get parts for you guys, or like we saw there, working on, like if they want you to work on their vehicle.
So you can call us. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We just started a Twitter and a TikTok, so that's new to us. But you just follow us at granatellimotorsports.com. Doesn't matter what platform you go to, it's always granatellimotorsports.com.
Cool. And one other question that I've been trying to ask more of the people that I interview, if someone is either new to the industry or they're already in the industry, and let's just say they're interested in working for your company or a company like yours, what advice would you give to those people?
So your way to get your foot in the door is just buy a vehicle, take it apart, look at everything. YouTube has, in my mind, since we're in the same age group, has really changed everything. You don't know how to do something, YouTube is there. Back in the day, it's an instruction manual, and instruction manuals were written for people who kind of know what they're already doing. YouTube, how do I change my windshield wipers? I didn't know how to change them on my car because it's a very unique vehicle. Well, in Australia, everybody has that vehicle, so they knew exactly how to do it. Get a vehicle, get your hands on something. Looking at something over the internet is one thing, but physically having it in your hand, it changes everything.
You have 5 different locations?
Yeah, so we have 5 different locations. The one we're in today is our main warehouse where we just pick, pack, ship. We have 2 fabrication shops, and we have 2 other manufacturing shops because we can't build everything in this 10,000 square foot building.
And you said a lot of them are actually kind of close to where
Yeah,
we're
so
at?
our fabrication shop and our CNC shop is 2 blocks down the street. A lot of our stuff is in Los Angeles, where we originally started, which was Woodland Hills, which is only 45 minutes from here. So a lot of shops over there, a lot of shops over here.
And if someone's looking to work maybe for you, do you guys have job openings on
We
your
always have
website?
job openings. We're always looking for sales, fabricators, marketing teams. So if you just give us a call, look us up on Facebook, you can Google us, always give us a call, always ask for JoJo and I can help you out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And maybe we'll be able to see some of their
Yeah,
other locations or other
definitely.
projects at another point.
Sounds great, thank you.
Awesome.